Yeah, dig it.
Yo, 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 it's your boy Sean Puff. And I'm here with Jimmy G. And this is Smarks, Spot Monkeys, and Super Kicks.
It's plural. There is the act of more than one super kick.
Yeah, multiple super kicks, multiple Spot Monkeys, multiple Smarks. We're all over the place. I'm right now trying to send this out to people, so don't mind me.
Well, while you do that, I mean, today's festivity, obviously, if you see the title, you know why we're here. We are going to do a retrospective look at the WWF, at that moment, now E, Royal Rumble from 1992.
It's going to be kind of cool. I'm looking forward to it. You said WWF, and that was one thing that stuck out to me watching it. So watching it on Netflix, right? Rewatching the show this week. It's interesting because they say World Wrestling Federation because that's what they said.
And they say WWF too.
They do. But that's what they said live. And it just doesn't get, they don't block it out anymore on us, right? But in the captions.
Yep, I saw that too. When they say Federation, so the deaf people, no shot at the deaf people, they're getting led false information.
Yeah, man, they're getting it wrong. They're getting it wrong. It's messed up.
They're not getting it wrong. I think they're just doing it. But one big thing, did you see who opened the show? Whose voice you heard first?
You got to refresh me.
Are you ready for the Royal Rumble? Good old Vince, man. A lot of people think Vince was created. Nah, Vince has been doing that voice for so long. He just finally put it to a character.
Right. Facts. Absolutely. Yeah, Vince was, I don't know, man. This was a great time in wrestling. Like when you look back at it, it was a really good Royal Rumble, an interesting show. Things happened on this show that I completely forgot about, right? Like, and we're going to get into all that. But today, we're going to break down the entire show, top to bottom. We're going to run through the whole thing. We're going to talk about the matches. We're going to talk about what worked, what didn't work. We're going to talk about doing something like that today, maybe. Maybe we'll get into that. But first off, did you book, because I didn't do it, and I'm not going to lie, I didn't even post it. I said I was gonna, and I lied. I failed you all. Did you book a women's brawl for all? Because I didn't do it.
A women's brawl for all? I don't think I did. I think we kind of foxy boxy. I mean, hey, another time, another place.
We said we were going to do it, but we'll hold off on that. We're gonna pin that. We're gonna table it. And we're going to come back to that at some point. We're just going to be like, hey, remember we said we were going to do that women's brawl for all? And me and Jimmy are going to have a conversation off camera, and we're going to book it.
Hey, together. Once again, down below, guys, wherever you're listening to this, let us know who you think would be some big and good competitors for a women's female brawl for all. Maybe I am insane. Speaking of that, though, the feels that you got, I wanted to go back and play WrestleFest after watching this thing. I wanted to get on the arcade. And I really got the WrestleFest vibes watching this.
Yeah, I love this because this is me. Like you're younger than me, but this is me as a kid right here. This is my childhood. Like 1992, I'm going to age myself right here when I say this. I was what? I graduated in 95. So I was in the 8th grade, the 10th grade in 92.
Sophomore.
Sophomore in high school, Royal Rumble was a pretty cool show. Opened up with, as you said, Vince, but the first match we went to, we had
Orient Express
versus the New Foundation.
The New Foundation. I never knew they were actually considered the New Foundation, but we had the intro too. Like when they did like the roll call of all the people in the Rumble, I was like, holy crap, this could be star-studded. And then the Orient Express was the first people. I'm like, I don't think I could have picked those two people out of a lineup. I'll be honest, Mr. Fuji, I know, but I forgot that those people were even existed. Who was the Orient Express?
That was Kato and Tanaka, not Sato and Tanaka. That's when he had that was the mask, right?
Yeah, one guy had the mask, and then the other guy, I don't know who any of them were.
Yeah, that was Pat Tanaka was the one with the long hair, and then Kato was stumping me now. He was someone that you'd recognize.
I think he was in WCW, I believe, as a jobber enhancement talent, but the guy in the mask, I don't know. There was a dark match of Brooklyn Brawler versus somebody, Kenny Rogers or somebody. I don't know who that guy was either.
Yeah, I didn't see that. See,
well, they don't show that, but they were just, if we're going to go over the Rumble, that was one thing I don't know who that guy was. Chris Walker. Who did he become?
Chris Walker. Okay.
He was also once known as the Lowrider Hog, whatever a Lowrider Hog is, but it's safe to say that guy probably didn't really amount to anything on Dark Match, but Brooklyn Brawler did. Okay. But yeah, New Foundation. That was a long opener. I kind of got sidetracked. I tried to pay attention to it. It was nice to see Owen Hart. Owen Hart, man, what a talented wrestler back in the day.
That guy went way too soon. By the way, Kato was Paul Diamond.
Part of the Diamond stuff? DDP's group?
He, for a brief time, played the character that Conan played under a mask.
The Galaxy Warrior from WWF or whatever.
Max Moon.
That guy?
Max Moon.
I thought Max Moon was I mean, they called themselves midget wrestler. I'm not saying he was a midget. I thought Max Moon was the small. Oh, that's Max Mini. That was Max Mini.
This is Max.
But, I mean, that was just. Oh, okay, yeah. He was the Galaxy. He shot things out of it. It looked like a VR Trooper, Power Ranger.
Yep.
You have the best wrestler in Conan, who was actually very charismatic and spoke English. Well, let's put you in a suit, and you're from another galaxy.
And for a while, when it wasn't Conan, I'm not sure if it was before or after Conan, but it was Paul Diamond, the same guy that was under the mask as Kato.
Okay.
So that was
I don't really remember a lot of those guys. Jim the Anvil, Neidhart, Unit Man wrestled with the shirt off on that one, looking all big and jacked. And like I said, Owen had a lot of nice spots, very athletic. Owen Hart, the Rocket, back in that day.
The New Foundation was a good team. I mean, it's hard coming off of Brett, right?
Mm-hmm.
You go from Brett to and Owen was great. Take nothing away from Owen, but it was. I don't know if it was Owen replacing him that was the bad part of that, because I think Owen was great. I think they just didn't have the same chemistry that Brett and Jim did, and I also don't think they benefited with that change of color.
Let's be honest. Owen didn't really have a gimmick. It was, hey, I go out there and I wrestle and do cool spots. It wasn't like when they redid it. They reformed that team as a bad guy, and when Owen Hart and Jim Neidhart were bad guys, this is not the Hart Foundation '97, but in like '95, they were teaming again, and that was when the Owen Hart we know, the King of Hearts, and they definitely found a little bit more rhythm at that moment. But at this time, it didn't keep my attention. I was doing other things. I wasn't really paying attention. It's a good match, but it doesn't drag your eyeballs to pay attention to it.
Right. Yeah. Nothing like crazy about it. Wasn't like I wouldn't say go back and you have to watch that match. There was nothing that stood out in that match to me that I was like, oh, you got to see this. But it got you, it was something to watch.
Absolutely.
How's that? Yeah.
I would say that. So that was a good match. Like I said, it was almost 20 minutes, that whole match, with the entrances and how long the match was. The match clocked in at over 17 minutes. How crazy is that? Which
is wild. Like, why? But I guess you got workers there, right? Owen was a good worker. Owen can go up there and put on, can be a part of a 20-minute tag team match, and he's going to show up. And it's,
But I don't think there's too much to go over in that match. Like I said, the New Foundation won it. I think he did some top rope move. Like I said, I wasn't even paying attention. I didn't bother rewinding it to catch it.
It was the rocket launcher. So
not hard through,
the Anvil would like do like a power slam. Owen would go up top and he grabbed him and like threw him across on top of him and launched him in the air on top of him.
Kind of like Big Cass and Enzo. They kind of did that.
Yes,
I believe.
Yes, absolutely.
But
that's how that match ended. Next match we get. This match was supposed to be Bret Hart versus the Mountie for the Intercontinental Championship. However, they did a match days before at a house show.
House show.
Where they had Bret Hart drop the title to the Mountie, and the story was Bret Hart was sick. So he had to defend the title sick. He was sick. He lost to the Mountie clean. And the Mountie now comes in as the Intercontinental Champion to take on Roddy Piper.
Very underrated. I was always a Mountie fan. When I went back and watched some blockbuster tapes on the Mountie, there was one where he got put in jail at a SummerSlam. Oh my God, dude. The Mountie is hilarious. That guy had like the like a Santino Morello kind of comedy aspect to him. Very good comedic timing and a good match with him and Piper.
He was big and he could wrestle. Like his comedy wasn't Danhausen comedy where this guy's just a joke, tiny little scrawny guy that couldn't do anything. This was the Mountie was a big dude.
Mm-hmm. What was the tag team he was in? He was in a tag team before the Mountie.
The
French Connection. The Quebecers, not the French Connection. The Quebecers.
The Quebecers. Yeah. Jacques and before that, the Rougeau brothers, Jacques and Raymond.
Okay, yep, now I remember. Piper, some interesting. Obviously everyone knows that guy does some weird promos. He did before the match or after the match. I have a dream. Promos and stuff. He was getting really weird with his promos, man. He
always does weird promos. This is the same guy that fucking did half of his body black for a match. Come on. Mm-hmm. Piper crossed the line before anyone knew crossing the line was a thing.
Hey, that's his line. I was crossing the line before crossing the line was cool.
It's true. It's true. It's 100% true. It's a fact. But so this was interesting because Piper comes out, wins the title, right? He's also in the Rumble, so he has a chance now to win both titles. First time ever. They talked about it all match. They kept saying how Piper could be in a position to win both titles, and no one's ever had the chance to go for both titles at the same time.
Win in the same night. Because Ultimate Warrior obviously did it 2 years before at the WrestleMania, but he didn't win the Intercontinental title that night. He was the champion going into it.
Yes. Good point.
But it's interesting. Piper was retired, and Piper, like, he's obviously a brawling style, but Roddy Piper's always a solid hand. At least when I go back and watch matches, it's weird that he was almost retired, but I guess that was more because of his Hollywood aspect. But he looked fine in this matchup. It was a shorter matchup, but
it was great though. It was great to see Piper get a little run as the Intercontinental Champion, right? Because it was his only title reign in WWF.
I think he had 2 Intercontinental titles, if I'm not mistaken. Because I think he had a match with Brett. Unless that match with Brett was that WrestleMania, I'm not 100% sure going into that. But
right, yeah, I'm not sure. He's I'm gonna have to look that up and see. I don't know.
Well, he's like Brett. I mean, on a side thing, I heard Bret Hart. He always had something in his contract. He didn't care about money for a long time. He's just like, make sure I win most of my matches. He just really wanted to win a lot of matches. And if you go back and watch when Bret Hart loses, Bret Hart's never knocked out. He's always like, it's like a roll-up pin, or he's like kind of hurt. And he's like, even when he was sick, he was moving around a little bit. He's never completely out. I don't know if that's a Bret Hart thing, if that's on purpose, but Bret was always the Michael Jordan of wrestling when I got into it. That's who I thought was the best skill set of wrestling before I knew how the act worked.
Yeah, no, I get that. That makes sense. Bret Hart, I love Bret. Like as a kid, I loved Bret. I wanted my hair. I had curly hair, and I wanted my hair to be long and straight, so I could be Bret the Hitman Hart.
And I guess, and speaking of Bret, he must have been sick for it because there was no Bret Hart on this card. Bret Hart was not in the Rumble, not featured in any matches. No Bret Hart on this show, minus that footage.
And so you had said before we went on the air, you're like, oh, and we can talk about why he wasn't there. So do you know specifically why he wasn't there?
I thought he was sick. I thought that was I thought maybe he really had the flu or whatever they said. Did he have something going on?
I don't know. So here's my thought on it, right? And I'm going to see if I can confirm this. But I feel like this was done to put the title on Piper, right? I feel like they wanted to go to Piper. They had to figure out how to do it. So you have this match, throw Piper in last minute, and you don't bury Bret Hart. Because think about it, Bret Hart would go on to be world champion. Like how much longer after
in
that?
1993. It was right before Flair left. So it was pretty much about a year. I think it was about a year because Ric Flair left before that Royal Rumble of the following year. He was not in the Royal Rumble of 93.
Right.
To the best of my knowledge. It was right when Monday Night Raw came out because Flair was on a Monday Night Raw. He lost to Piper. or to perfect. Excuse me.
Perfect. Yes, you're right. Yes. Wow. But so I feel like that was done to take Brett, to be able to put him into the world title picture without having him do a clean loss on TV, and put the title on someone that they wanted to. They didn't want to put it on.
Well, I think Piper and Brett was that WrestleMania of that year. I know they had a really crazy WrestleMania match, so that probably lines up. And what you're looking for, it's the proverbial transitional champion.
Right.
So that'd be WrestleMania 7. I would just write WrestleMania 92. Google would help you fill in the ranks. But President Tunney, what did you think about? What did little Sean Puff think about President Tunney? Because I didn't get to experience President Tunney live.
Oh, I don't know. Jack Tunney was an interesting guy because that's when you gotta think that back at this time, kayfabe was kept, right? So unless you were like really on the inside and really knew, you bought what was going on, right? So Jack Tunney was just the authority figure. He didn't really, I wouldn't say that Jack Tunney ever really shook things up, but it was like if he comes out, you knew it was something serious. When Jack Tunney spoke up something, you knew it was something.
He got booed. He came out at one point, definitely got booed that night. The fans, that was a rowdy bunch in New York. And that was New York. We didn't talk about that. That was a New York crowd. New York's a little bit smarky, even probably then.
It wasn't New York City. It was in New York City.
Nope, not New York City. Albany, yep.
Which is weird. Like, so it was Knickerbocker Arena. Is that where the Knicks play? Did the Knicks play in Knickerbocker Arena?
I don't know that because that's probably where they originally played. And then they probably realized when they got the stadium. I mean, MSG is an old stadium. So I don't know. That would be a little research to do on that.
Yeah, that's something that we'll have to find out. I don't know. That's very interesting. I wondered that when I saw it. I was like, Knickerbocker Arena, huh?
All right. So before we transition to the next match, I asked you about this President Tunney guy. Here's another guy that my mind doesn't know how to comprehend. And that is, what the F is a Jameson? Who the hell is that guy? What is that Jameson guy?
I don't know. Like Jameson was a weird. He was just comedy relief. He was Danhausen. He was just comedy relief. He was just there to be comedy to the Bushwhackers, which is wild to me. Like, it's wild to me that the Bushwhackers are the Bushwhackers. Because if you know the Bushwhackers, if you do any research on the Bushwhackers before they were the Bushwhackers, they were the sheep herders. And the sheep herders weren't comedy, fun gimmicks, licking kids' heads. They were splitting people open and making them bleed.
Yeah, almost like a death match kind of wrestler. I've heard the tales. Yeah. I haven't gone back and watched, but I have heard that narrative.
Yeah, the sheep herders were not anything like the Bushwhackers, and it's one of those things where when you look at it, you're like, wow, these guys decided to come here and do this. But I guess when you do that deathmatch stuff for so long, if you can go get paid WWF dollars to lick kids' heads and joke around, and you don't have to bleed anymore, why not?
Mick Foley said it best. He's like, wait a second, I could have just put a sock on my hand. I wouldn't have to fall out off a cage and take the bumps I did. Like, all I had to do was put a sock on my hand, and I would have been okay.
It's serious.
Hey, you got to get to a point that you earn the right to do that. But that is the segue, Jameson, with the Bushwhackers. And then you had the Heavenly Bodies, the Beverly Brothers.
Beverly Brothers.
With the Genius. With the Genius. Wait, that's not him.
Genius. Oh, man. So the Beverly Brothers, one of their sons was recently in NXT. Von Wagner is one of their sons.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think
it is interesting going back and seeing all the family lineage from. And a big thing, I have this as a little note, how much the difference of 6 to 8 years make in WWE. Watching that event in 1992 and then watching anything from 1998 or 2000 is mind-boggling. Because if you went from like 2006 to 2012, it's not that big of a change. But from 90...
It's because the change of the era, right? 1997, I think it was when they called the birth of the Attitude Era, right? That changed everything. Everything was different once the Attitude Era hit from what it was before then. So it was just such a huge difference. But you're right, because this was character driven in a different way than Attitude Era character driven was. It was more caricature. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Yeah. But characters have always been a big thing in wrestling, but it's the more the super. I mean, there are some big people, and when we get to the Rumble, there's some big dudes. But even the Heavenly Bodies and the Bushwhackers were definitely not people you want to fight in the bar with.
Heavenly Bodies are a different team than the Beverly Brothers.
Beverly Brothers, I'll get it right eventually. Midnight Express, Rock.
This match, right? They're all this match was so bad. It was so bad.
Well, I mean, as far as I knew, I couldn't. Once again, I couldn't pull the lineup. The Beverly Brothers. I got to keep looking at my notes to even remember what the hell to call them. I don't remember them doing anything really after this. All I remember is they had a really bad finisher move. Well, not bad, like it hurt you. It looked like, and I've seen on YouTube like a Dudley Death freaking spike or something. I don't know if they kept doing that.
Yeah. Well, this match? Did you notice the end of this match and how weird and efficient it was?
I don't really know. The only thing I noticed is the Bushwhackers really know how to stomp in unison. And the one guy just likes, yeah! That's all I really got from the match. And they stomp in unison very well.
It's kind of what you get from the Bushwhackers. I'll never forget they came here. They were at Bartonwood Festival. We have a festival here in New Bedford called the Whaling City Festival. And they were at this in like 2001, maybe, somewhere around that time when I was in college. And I'm there with one of my buddies. And he's just starts screaming, "Hey, lick my head! Lick my head!" He just wanted the Bushwhackers to lick his head.
And he probably came up there like,
no, he didn't get his head licked. He was very disappointed with it. But
I mean, if people, I mean, Sean Puff, if people charge like $5 for a pitcher, and it's a lot more than $5, I think to get one of these wrestlers to lick your head, it should probably be worth a little bit more money, even in 1992 or whenever you're talking about, which was probably
that's just what they used to do. If you watched them, if you watched them coming down to the ring, they'll walk up to the fans and grab them, and instead of like giving you $5, they lick your head. The Bushwhackers were weird. Jameson really ate sardines, man. They ate sardines out of the can and ate their hat and licked each other.
Where are they from? They're not Australia. What were they? Like
New Zealand.
New Zealand. That's what it like the Concords, like the Concords kind of stuff.
But
that was a long match too. I got sidetracked on that. I started doing the dishes or something during that match.
But they were because it was a horrible match. It ended with I think like Blake Beverly. I don't know that Bo or Blake. They don't even look.
None of our audience cares. I don't think.
But one of them hits a double axe handle to the other Bushwhacker while his partner's holding him, and he falls down, and then he covers him, and it looks like the other Bushwhacker is supposed to get in and make the save, and he just doesn't make the save, and 3, and that's it. And it was weird. And then Jameson gets in the ring, and they beat up the Genius, and Jameson kicks him in the shin.
Yeah, I thought I thought the Genius got beat up at the end. I thought the faces got their comeuppance. Yeah, which was always weird. They always like whatever the finish was, then the opposite happened after the match in this wrestling, and we'll see that later tonight. That was a big trope in wrestling in the big pay-per-views. A lot of like dusty finishes or no finishes or count outs.
And it's funny when you watch it with today's eyes, right? Mm-hmm. Because how much do people complain about that today?
Oh yeah. Well, there's no internet then, so people got away with it.
Finishes. Oh, fuck! Finishes are so dumb. Back in the day, it happened way more than you think it did.
No, go look at WrestleMania results. Look how many countouts and DQs in the early WrestleManias there were. That's WrestleMania.
And that transitions us perfectly into our next match. The tag team titles on the line. We had to go tag team to tag team, by the way.
Yeah, you normally want to keep it like a sandwich, layer it a little bit better, but.
So we get the Natural Disasters, Earthquake and Typhoon, going against the Legion of Doom, Hawk and Animal, the tag team champions.
This match I got pumped for because the Natural Disasters are big people. And you don't get to see, they're huge. They're huge. You don't get to see the LOD. This is something where they were pretty good with the Undertaker. Undertaker got to be the underdog in a lot of matches in WWF early in the career. Legion of Doom was never really outmatched physically. And in this match going into it, so I was like, I kind of want to see them. They kept doing the chest. I think each guy got their own chance to do the chest stare down. Like, yo, what's up, bro? You make your move, bro. What's up? And they do like the chest bump.
Yeah.
I marked out for. I love some big guy wrestling from time to time.
Oh, big meaty men slapping meat, right?
That good old man meat.
I'm saying. No, that was, listen, I think the Natural Disasters are an underrated tag team.
Absolutely.
They fit. They just worked. They worked well together as a team. The Legion of Doom, they're legends. I mean, before they were even here in WWF, people knew who they were. The Road Warriors, which if you ever look back and look at the people who are members of the Road Warriors and the Legion of Doom, it's very interesting.
Oh, early, before they got to WWE. Yeah, there's some people. But I always love my good Legion of Doom thing. You have Road Warrior Animal going on a crazy rant, and then they go to Hawk, and the best. Well, oh man, I love the Legion of Doom. There was some good wrestling. Not a big WWF career. They did come back a little bit, but that time right there, that was a short window that they were there.
Well, it was kind of at the end, right? Like, and I feel like WWF always wanted them, but couldn't have them, so they created their own versions. We got Demolition.
Powers of Pain, I believe. I think you had the Warlord one.
Pain was around in WCW before they came over, but WWF took them quickly. It was like, oh yeah, another just like the fucking Legion of Doom. We're gonna grab these guys. But Demolition was kind of like their version of the Legion of Doom.
But I feel, and obviously Demolition was the end all be all, like WWE's version.
And people will argue who's better.
But I Demolition Doom. That's going to be a hot take. But they did. Demolition knocked it out of the park of what they were supposed to do. Obviously, the entrance song helped. But what a good team. But where Demolition was not on this card. I don't think they showed up anywhere. I wonder where they were, because they weren't in the Rumble, I don't think.
I don't think they were there at that time. That might have been because they weren't there anymore.
Oh, they're already gone because Repo Man exists.
Repo Man, yes.
And I still can't get over Repo Man as part of the Demolition. That does not compute in my brain that guy was the same guy with long hair that was a little bit more jacked.
No. It was Smash. Smash is the Repo Man.
Well, here comes the Axe then, but and then
Axe was the bigger guy. Axe was the bigger guy with the slicked back. I guess they both have slicked back hair.
Yeah, it was the one thing. He had really nice hair at one Survivor Series, and there's like a sign that talks about how good his hair looked the one night.
So that Survivor Series, that match was his last match in WWF.
Really?
Yes, that was his. Look it up.
With the hair, when he had the hair all nice.
And he didn't do it. He didn't like grease his hair up that way because he was like, "Screw it, you gonna fire me? It's my last match. You can't fire me. I'm gonna wear my hair like I want to." And he wore his hair that way, and everybody loved his hair.
And let's be honest, whenever you guys are listening to this, you have already heard, shout out, Demolition, finally getting their rightful spot, I would have to say, in the WWE Hall of Fame.
I've been waiting for that for a long time. I'm a big Demolition fan. Again, not on the show at all, but it kind of fits with talking about the Legion of Doom. I've always been a big Demolition fan, so I'm so happy they got in. I know a lot of it, why they didn't get in was because of that whole concussion lawsuit. And I hope a lot of that stuff's behind us now that it's new ownership and TKO I'm hoping TKO's kind of like, I don't really care about any of that old shit when you sued Vince, because it's not Vince anymore. Mm-hmm. And we get these guys into the Hall of Fame that, like Demolition, that deserve to be there, but only aren't in because they had some issue with Vince.
Which is never good. The Hall of Fame should not be that, but wrestling's its own bubble. It's not official sports. That's what we always have to remember. Wrestling's its own criteria in general. Shawnee? Mr. Puff? I'll time until we get Mr. Puff back. Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby the Brain on commentary this show. Oh my God, they're so good. And when did we get? Because Sherry came out at one point. I think she must have came down with a wrestler, so maybe I'll for that one. But watching this event really wanted me to go back and play WrestleFest. You gotta love the 80s. I think we're still streaming. I think it's just we lost Franklin. Maybe remove him. Because it says we're still streaming, so we're just going live. Nobody in the comments. I'm actually seeing some good views, and this is not a place that that's a lot of Jim in your face right there. Let's tone that down a little bit. So we'll wait till Franklin to get back. So the Natural Disasters and the LOD, very good match. Like I said, a lot of big guys, and Natural Disasters are a very underrated tag team. They had a lot of their spots. They have a lot of spots where they jump and make everything move, kind of like what they're saying, a natural disaster, an earthquake, a typhoon. They make the ring shake. They do all jumps. They get people in the ropes. Little suspect. Doesn't really look like it always hurts. They're very safe wrestlers, actually. I don't think I ever heard about them hurting anybody back in the day. Now, I don't want to get to the finish until I get my co-host back. This did happen last time, bud. Yo, pack it up and get back. Like, you're supposed to be a professional here, Sean Puff. Did they indict you? Did 50 Cent come and get you? Yo, whoa. I thought he was arrested. There's a Sean Puff streaming, especially with that Jimmy guy that everybody hates. Yeah, I mean, like I said, going back watching 1992, the beginning of the show starts off so crazy. You get so pumped for this card. Yeah, I don't know where my Puffy go. Oh, wait, here he comes. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The next entry in the Royal Rumble. Sean Puff's back.
Jeez, my internet hates me. Second week in a row.
It probably hates Jimmy. It's a cool thing, but we're not here to talk about that. So I didn't expunge upon
talking to Jimmy for too long. We're cutting you off.
Well, actually, I said 50 Cent was coming to get you because he saw Sean Puff was streaming. So 50 Cent came and got a little frisky with it. But I was saying though, you don't really hear about Typhoon and Earthquake ever really hurting anybody for being big wrestlers. Puff. No, Puff. No, you were right there, Puffy. I'll be missing you every breath you take, every move you make. I'll be missing you. All right, I gotta kick him again. So I'm gonna take this time so there's not a lot of dead air when he gets back. So LOD and Natural Disasters, not the most solid finish. Natural Disasters were doing really good. I mean, you have to assume that the Legion of Doom does not play the underdog too much on these kind of shows, especially in this era. I mean, WWE is never going to try to sensationalize a lot of these guys that were homegrown. And anybody that's watching this live, we might have a little overhang, but maybe it's a good time to pause it. If Franklin Benjamin can't figure this out, maybe it's a good time to pause. All right, here we go. Let's try again. All right. Every breath you take, every move you make, I'll be missing you. There he is. Puff, your internet sucks. All right.
We're back.
Nope.
We're back.
You're good?
My internet sucks. But all right, hopefully this shit stays on.
So what was the finish like? What do you have? What happened at the end of the LOD Natural Disasters? I set the stage for you pretty well.
It was a count out. It was a freaking count out. Typhoon's in the ring. Hawk, I believe, is outside fighting with Earthquake. I don't know where the hell Animal is, but Hawk is counted out, and the Natural Disasters win the match by count out. Jimmy Hart jumps in the ring with the titles, and they stop celebrating like they won the belts. But you can't win the belt by count out. So
it made them look stupid. Jimmy Hart's like, I'm going to talk to my legal team. Bobby the Brain Heenan's awesome on commentary. I got a good manager. I got a good lawyer. I'll get you in touch with my lawyers. But like, Earthquake was almost there. Earthquake was back in the ring. It was such an anticlimactic finish.
It was. It was like, huh? That just happened, and then they get in the ring with chairs, the Legion of Doom, and again, they get their comeuppance and
weak chair shots, the weakest chair shots.
That chair shot, I don't know if you were doing dishes, but that chair shot to Earthquake.
So
no, the second one, like when they.
Oh, there's one that they Irish whipped him, and they got him in the head and made the good doink. You did hear the sound of it.
The very last one. When they Irish whipped him, an Animal hit him in the head with it, and his hands didn't come up, and he just took that to the face and dropped.
They're big guys, but like when they hit him in the back, though, it's like It was like so like, don't even hit somebody with a chair. If you're gonna pull up, especially on their back, the match was good. I was invested. That's the match that should have been 20 minutes. That was my favorite, most invested card, and it was a short match.
And a fuck finish.
Ugh. But at least and I think that was the last match though before the Rumble. If I'm not mistaken.
It was. And then we talked to everybody of all the guys in the Rumble. They talked about things leading up to the Rumble. They showed, I didn't even realize this happened the weekend before this Rumble was when Marty Jannetty jumped through the barbershop window.
All right. How many things is Bobby the Brain going to ruin on commentary? But he's Bobby the Brain. He gets a pass. Oh, he tried to throw. Oh, whose side's Hogan on? Everybody gives Bobby the Brain a pass, but he does some crazy stuff on commentary that's usually not acceptable for commentary people.
Well, listen,
but
I think WCW Bobby Heenan is different from this Bobby Heenan. This is prime Bobby Heenan, and the stuff that comes out of his mouth, like that right there, when that happened, Shawn Michaels kicking Marty Jannetty, the whole time he's like, these two need each other. They're not gonna, like, they really need each other. They're just gonna hug and make up. And then Shawn Michaels kicks him in the face and he says, I knew he was gonna do that.
I knew he was gonna do that.
Need him.
and Gorilla Monsoon's like probably cracking up and he's waiting and he's like, oh my, I forget what Gorilla said right after, because Bobby said like 3 sound bites.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. And that was honestly just a couple weeks. That was in the new year. That was in 1992. I think they showed the little date. Did you see the Coliseum video of Ric Flair's promo and how he ended it? And that's the bottom line. I don't know if anybody caught that. Ric Flair said that's the bottom line, but everything's been done in wrestling. It takes somebody to elevate it. But Harold Finkel introduction. But how much is the GOAT of Howard Finkel? What a true gem Howard Finkel is.
Yeah, Howard Finkel was the man. Like, he was ring announcing in like I ring announce now, and like I can only wish to be as good as Howard Finkel when I'm out there ring announcing.
But, and they make fun of him, dude. There was never once where he was like, dude, when he's announcing, he's so awesome. The voice just worked with everything, and he did the Rumble intro. It was awesome.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So then the Rumble starts off. We get they explain everything.
It's not fair to Flair. It's not fair to Flair. Hey, this is not fair to Flair.
Before we even get to that, it wasn't fair to Flair. But
they said it all night.
We get number one
fair to Flair.
We get number 1 and number 2. And it's the British Bulldog, and now number 2 slipping my mind.
Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man.
Ted DiBiase, who obviously didn't buy his spot this year.
Now, I don't know what time it happened. And I want to do it because we always talk about Jerry the King Lawler being a hornball. Sherry came out with somebody. I forget who she came out with, and the dress she had on that night. And it was very revealing, the dress that Sherry had.
I think he came out with Ted DiBiase.
I think it was DiBiase, which I'm trying to figure out like where that kind of gets where that kind of comes from, because and also Sean Puff, let's get to the Rumble. We didn't talk about the biggest caveat of this Rumble. This Rumble is for the World Championship, the vacant World Championship. How did we get to that? That's not because Undertaker beat Hogan, was it, or something? What happened?
Yeah, it was Tuesday in Texas when Ric Flair stuck the chair in like November. But back then there weren't monthly pay-per-views. So you have Survivor Series, the next pay-per-view is Royal Rumble. So the title was stripped from Hogan. We didn't have a champion, not stripped from Hogan, but the title was stripped and held in abatement instead of Undertaker being the champion.
Okay, so it was that. I didn't know if somebody else got their hands, if it was all the way from that.
I believe
shows you how much slower that storyline's developed back then, because that was almost like 2 months within time. Like, wrestling can change dramatically at that point, but not then.
Be wrong. I'm going to double check and look, because I could be wrong, and that could have been a totally other thing. But
I think Hogan won the title back from Undertaker a week later, but I think that's what the Tuesday turnbuckle or whatever the heck you called it, because I kind of vaguely remember that. But then I think Tunney was like, I don't like this, and stepped in.
Right.
That's what I believe happened.
So Survivor Series 91, Undertaker defeats Hogan for the WWF Championship with Ric Flair's interference. So at that Survivor Series, that's when Ric Flair put the chair in. Undertaker does the tombstone onto the chair. He gets the title.
Hogan's doing the weird, like, convulsing. Trying to kick out, convulsing.
Tuesday in Texas gets made 6 days later. Flair interferes again. Hogan wins the title back. Then Jack Tunney steps in and vacates the title due to all the controversy and Ric Flair getting involved in both.
So is this Rumble? I mean, maybe we'll get to it. I'll wait until that happens. But Bulldog looked very good in the early part of this Rumble. Bulldog I guess he had a.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Didn't he have? There was a 20-man Rumble somewhere in England a little bit before that he won. So they kind of did like a little tease of the Rumble that Bulldog won supposedly right around that time frame.
Right. They did do that in somewhere in Britain.
But I just want to say that even though Jerry the King Lawler got as Sherry came out a little exposed, the brain he and I don't think he meant the team of Sherry and DiBiase. I think he meant something else when he said.
Oh, it's great. I want to see if I can bring the picture up, and if I can, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna save it and post it. We're
gonna get monetized.
I'm gonna post it and save it on and put it on the Facebook page. So go follow us on Facebook.
This is not fair to Flair. Not fair to Flair, was it? And no entrance songs. I thought Flair had an entrance song. Only the first two people had entrances. Nobody else got music. Not even Hogan during this time.
Right. The early Rumbles, you didn't get music when they came out. They would just come out and you'd have to look and see who it was. And by the way, speaking of Hogan, Hogan won the last two Rumbles before this.
Back to back.
That was kind of interesting.
But there was nothing on the line in those. That was just prestige. I mean, look at John Studd. John Studd won that Rumble in '89 and didn't even have a WrestleMania match that year, I don't believe. I think he had something going on with his contract at them.
Didn't Hacksaw Jim Duggan win a Rumble too?
That was a 20-man Rumble, but yes. But it's not full-on lexicon. It's not the history books. John Studd's the first official. At least for 30 men. Hacksaw was in this match. This Rumble was star-studded. Like I said, I wanted to play WrestleFest. Shawn Michaels came out. Shawn Michaels just super kicking people. No sell, just little like, whatever. Just like a setup move.
That was like right when he was getting that, that heel run. It was the Rumble was great because it's different now, right? Because now the Rumble is something that's nostalgic. They always want to bring back somebody to say, This wasn't that. This wasn't who's going to be a surprise in the Rumble. We knew all 30 guys in the Rumble. They made it clear all 30 guys at the beginning of the show, at sometime in the middle of the show, right before the Rumble. They talked to a bunch of guys about the Rumble. So the Rumble at this point was a very different beast than what it is today. This was more of, we're going to get everybody in there, everyone that has feuds. We're going to build some stuff out of it. We're going to let guys get their moments, their spots. And it was used. There are some ways that it was used the same, but I think overall it was used very differently than the Rumble is today.
Well, look at the beginning. I mean, you and me, if people are listening to this or watching this, we come from a promo background. We don't need to alleviate and really embellish in it. But in these early Rumbles, you had everybody come out and gave like a 15, 20-second promo. That'd be cool if they did that nowadays, but it's a different feel. Like, you don't go back there with the WWE logo and say your piece. It's very interesting watching these early Rumbles and getting like 15 to 20 promos back to back to back before the Rumble starts. I like going back and seeing that as a promo artiste.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to watch. And but here's one thing that threw me off, because it was like, did you guys watch? Someone in post-production didn't tell you what was going to happen in this and how this was going to go down, because Ric Flair said he had number 3, and then Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon were surprised that he had number 3, but he told Sean Mooney or Ian Mooney or whatever the hell his name was.
Because that was the bottom line promo. That was a Coliseum exclusive. A lot of these youngins don't know about Coliseum exclusive. That's when you rented a pay-per-view. That is not what you watched live. That is once you got the VHS after the fact. It was a Coliseum exclusive interview. So I don't think that interview was played for the live audience.
So I didn't catch that. I knew it was a Coliseum exclusive, but I didn't catch that. That makes sense though. Coliseum
it threw me off too because I'm like, because Bobby the Brain was selling it all night. But what number is Flair? This is not fair to Flair. We need to know what number Flair is. But yeah, that was
we already knew what number Flair was. Because
that was a Coliseum exclusive because then he did his actual interview beforehand where he's, woo, I'm the man. I'm about to show you guys why I'm the real champion. And he didn't say that he was number 3 entry. So that was kind of, I think,
that makes sense.
A lot of interesting people.
Videos were the shit. I used to love. That was like my Friday night. Friday night, Mom would be like, "All right, we're gonna go to Blockbuster Video," and I would always get to pick something, and I would always pick a Coliseum Video, WWF.
Oh my! When I first realized there was a wrestling section in Blockbuster, oh my God. Like I said, I came into wrestling in 1996. That's when I started really paying attention. So going back and watch, like I said, that's SummerSlam where Mountie went against Roddy Piper and he got arrested. Oh my God, I think I bought that on VHS. I thought that was the funniest thing ever. Piper with the guy smoking cigarettes. I bet you're not going to blow that in my face again. And he's like, I bet you I will. And he freaking doused him with the fire extinguisher. Yeah. Jr. Not to be confused with the other Downey Jr.
Right.
But a lot of interesting names. Tito Santana. That guy teaches high school by me. But not then, man. Tito Santana. He was in a lot of...
Man. The flying jalapeno.
The consummate professional, man. He was in so many of those early pay-per-views. Always found his way on the WrestleMania Rumbles. He always got booked. And one of the only guys to retire where I don't think he was ever a bad guy. Crazy.
Was he? Oh, I don't know.
I don't think he was ever a bad guy.
He ever was. Not at least not in WWF.
Who else did we get early? We got Jerry Sachs. Yeah, but we got a lot of interesting people. A lot of the undercard in the beginning, minus Bulldog, DiBiase got tossed early, and he was the Iron Man from the year before, if I'm not mistaken, where he had like 30 or 40 minutes. He might have even had the record, I think, before Flair did it.
The record was Rick Martel.
Okay, the model. Yes, they did say that. You're right.
Yeah, the model Rick Martel.
Barbarian was huge then too. Barbarian, because I know him from WCW. He almost looks like he was more tan in WCW and everything. He looked like a different person in WCW when he was with Ming. And that's funny because Haku and Barbarian, as Ming, they're both in the Rumble at the same time, and they ended up being a WCW tag team. Also,
never anything there. Haku is a beast. Haku is that guy that you don't want to fight.
Oh yeah, supposed to gouged out eyes. You had the Texas Tornado, the Von Erich in that. So a lot of people have watched the Von Erich movies and whatnot. So to see him in there, and that match is when he did not have his foot. I'm watching to see is his ankle bending or anything to see. But very good wrestler. I'm not even trying to be funny. I just that guy flat out had a prosthetic, and I just want to be like. Because it looked like you couldn't even tell, which is a shout out to him.
That whole family just had so much. Like if you've ever looked back, you probably watched the movie, but if you ever looked back and watched the Von Erich story, I remember watching all those guys wrestle, and then just this guy dies, and then this guy dies, and then this one dies. It's wild.
So. Man. A very interesting what if. Some people say the very first Von Erich that died before, I forget his name. I don't know if that was not Kerry, Brian. I don't know his name. The first one that died in Japan. There was talks that if he was still around, he might have been the Undertaker because he was tall. That was the tallest Von Erich. He had the same body type as Undertaker. But he was very charismatic, so I don't think they would have put him in that. I don't know if that's revisionist history because they would have put a microphone in that guy's hand because he was not the best looking. Kerry and Kevin were the better looking ones. This was the taller, lankier one, but he cut the better promo. But he was the first one that passed away in that family. Well, not the youngest brother died when he was really, really little. To start off the curse, yeah.
That was horrible. Snow, he gets shocked in the snow. That's why.
What a random thing from a trailer. Repo Man comes in. Like I said, Repo Man just looks like somebody off the street. So I guess he got off the PEDs or whatever at that time, because he does not look like the guy that was in Demolition. It still boggles my mind.
What's yours is mine. No, what's mine is mine, and what's yours is mine too.
It's also mine. Hey, it is tax season right now, so guys, shout out. It is. It's March now, so if you haven't done your taxes yet, and IRS is in this match too, so make sure. Greg the Hammer Valentine was in this, and he hit Ric Flair at the figure 4.
That was great. That was kind of cool to see Greg Valentine throw the figure 4 and Ric Flair.
And he was a good guy, I think.
Nikolai Volkov was in for like 3 minutes. He was out.
Yeah, very blinking, you missed it. Boss Man, I like going back and seeing Boss Man. Very agile big man. Doesn't get the respect because he's not super big, but he really is a big guy. And he doesn't really get respect for being a big guy and an agile big man.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Hercules, another big dude. But then Piper came in. And that's, I think, when everything started getting eliminated, because I think it just became Piper and Flair. Yeah, Flair was the last one. So Flair somehow freaking does the Flair drop, and there's nobody left in the Rumble. And it goes to the bell, and it's 10, 9, 8, and Piper. And then they had the little one-off battle for a little bit. And then they started filling in. This is where a lot of the big names.
And then Jake comes in next. Yeah. So Piper comes, they clear everything out. It's Flair and Piper, and Jake comes in, and Jake does the most Jake thing ever. He comes in the ring, slides into the ring, and he like kind of puts his hand out to Piper like, "Nah, I'm good. I'm just gonna sit back here in the corner. You keep doing what you're doing." And he
did the Raven. He did Raven in the corner. I'm good. He got some boos, man. That was because that's when he was feuding with Macho Man. I guess there's a lot of heat with the Macho Man. I don't know if that's not the wedding from hell yet, right? This is before the wedding
from hell. I don't think yet. I think that was afterwards.
I think it's all after, because the WrestleMania before that. Yeah, but I don't know what because Macho Man had the match with Warrior the year before, was a retirement. So I don't even know how Macho got into this match. Maybe that was because, like, hey, I'm not an active competitor, but I'll be in this match. So Jake and Flair end up fighting. Well, that's one thing you notice.
He did something to him, because when Macho Man comes out, he goes after Jake.
Oh, Jake and Taker already had beef with him, because they do fight. Well, I mean, we'll get to what Randy Savage did in this Rumble at some point. But you got Jim Duggan.
We get Hacksaw, Jim Duggan. Man.
You get IRS.
That guy was a weird guy. You know
who?
Hacksaw Jim Duggan is the wrestler that made me realize wrestling was fake.
What? Because you got to see him out of character at some point, or what do you mean?
No, I used to read, like, I was always a nerd. I read everything in the world, and I just loved to read everything. And I read at a way higher level than my grade level. So sometime, I don't remember when it was before this. It was Hacksaw Jim Duggan when he was feuding with the Iron Sheik in WWF.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like earlier 80s. And I was reading PWI. And PWI used to have a little section that was like the police blotter, and it talked about anytime police were involved with anything with any wrestlers. And Iron Sheik and Hacksaw Jim Duggan got arrested leaving Madison Square Garden in a car, and they had open containers. They were smoking weed, and they had a bag of coke with them. And I was like, "Huh? You don't I don't. I'm a kid, but I know that you're not going to do drugs and drink with someone you don't like." Like, these guys
the good guys and the bad guys. What the heck?
They're friends, and that's when I realized. I was probably like 9, 10 years old.
It's weird though. Yo, why did Sheik get fired and Jim Duggan didn't? Jim Duggan just got a suspension. Sheik got fired from that one. Goddamn Brian Blair, hot tooey! I will humble you, Brian Blair. I'm sorry.
Well, you can't fight like Sheik. Come on, man. Sheik's.
But so that's very interesting. I remember when I read my first wrestling magazine in the 90s. The wrestling magazines were unhinged in the 90s.
They were.
So much more that was the internet. That was the internet for us.
Right.
That was wrestling internet.
Yes, you found out everything, like stuff that you would never know, matches. Like PWI used to have a section that had all the house show results for like the previous month. Every house show.
I like the rankings. I always went back to see the rankings, the top 10 in each league. That's what I always thought was cool. So Jimmy Snuka comes out next, and he got booed. What was with that? Was he a bad guy then? Does New York? There's some boos. It was definitely not cheers for Snuka.
Was that when he was going through? No, that was in the trial because the trial wasn't.
He already had a match with Undertaker. Yeah, that was before. That was WrestleMania 1, I think, around that time when the girlfriend died.
Yeah, but I mean the trial wasn't happening, right? Yeah, I don't know.
The Vince trial. Yeah, I don't know because I think that was 92. Because there was other people talking about it. I did some research. I remember the trial came back why some people left.
By the way, you missed IRS coming in. IRS came in before Jimmy Snuka.
I know. I was trying to see too if I see Bray or Bo Dallas in his face a little bit, but he's so clean shaven. IRS, it's hard to see his. He took his time
even before that because before that he was Mike Rotundo. He was a part of
varsities, some kind of varsity club
with the Rick Steiner and help me out here. What's his name?
I don't think it was Perfect. I think Perfect or Rude. I think was kind of part of that stable. Sullivan was. That's so weird to see that. I think my brain purposely erased that. To see that guy. That guy's Dungeon Doom from now until forever. The Taskmaster.
Facts. No, but that was a little.
And then Undertaker came in. Undertaker. Ooh, man, it's cool seeing Undertaker, man. Back then, Undertaker fit right into that time.
He did. Absolutely.
Him and HBK are the bridge. And I think Shawn Michaels did get eliminated before this, but Shawn Michaels was showing early Skin the Cats and doing all the cool Dolph Ziggler spots on the ropes. But then this is why I think when the ring started building up and then Macho Man came in. What do you have to say about Macho Man being in this when he came into the Rumble? What happened there?
He comes running in and Jake slides out of the ring from underneath the ring wicked quick to avoid him. And all Savage wants is to get his hands on Jake the Snake. He comes in, he gets taken on by Undertaker, and I think before it might have been before Berserker even came out into the ring next. Savage,
I don't think, no, Berserker's not there yet. Nope.
Jake gets thrown out, right? And then this was weird to me. Macho Man jumped over the top rope, leaped over the top rope to the outside, and attacks Jake. And
both feet hitting the floor. Both feet hitting the floor.
Both feet in the floor, and he gets thrown back in by Undertaker. And Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon both said that you have to be propelled over the top rope. You can't just go over the top rope. And I don't know if it's ever happened before, but I
don't think that was a planned spot. I think Warrior kind of got because Savage. Let's be honest. Savage tried to pin Yokozuna 2 years later in a Rumble. I think Macho Man might be a little too insane for the Rumble. I think they had to kind of tell him like, "Yo, Macho, like, what are you doing, bro?" Because he was involved in the finish too of that match.
Well, you're supposed to be in the finish. You weren't supposed to jump over the top. We're just gonna throw you back in. We're gonna throw you back in.
The announcers didn't try to cover it. Bobby the Brain and both were like, "Oh, he just eliminated himself." They did say it initially, but then they were probably fed by Vince. "Oh shit! All right, you gotta tell him. You gotta be thrown over," which technically they do say thrown over, so it's a little wiggle room, I guess. But clearly they didn't want him eliminated, so they got him back in the ring. And like you said, that's when Berserker came out.
The Berserker. Virgil. What a weird character the Berserker was.
He was supposed to be like a Brody Lee kind of guy, right?
Yeah, he was a Viking. He was the Viking first, and then they got sued and they had to change his name, and that's why it was called the Berserker.
Because of a Viking? You couldn't call him a Viking? Who sued him?
He was the Viking. And somebody had, like, it was same way that they got sued for WWF, they got sued for the Viking, and he had to change his name.
Like Taz makes sense. You can't be Taz because there's a Taz Looney Tune, but really? That's weird. I didn't know that. All I knew is he was supposed to be kind of like a Brody Lee, wrestled like him, dressed like him, and then said, "Huss, Huss, Huss." One of my coworkers that liked wrestling before the Attitude Era and stopped watching I made the mistake of continuing watching for the rest of my life. And once I realized what the deal was, I got even more into wrestling once I learned the backstage. And he liked Berserker. So everybody has their little weird wrestler they like, before, even if they're just like a closet wrestling fan. Everybody has that one wrestler they like.
I mean, I didn't hate the Berserker when he first came out.
Who was Colonel Mustafa? That was Iron Sheik, right? Or was it the other guy that was part of the...
No, Colonel Mustafa was he was the Iron Sheik. But
okay.
So do you know who the Berserker was?
No, I think he's still alive though.
John Nord.
Yeah, John Nord, which is a Viking name.
Bruiser Brody's tag team partner.
Oh, so that's why. So they actually had a little bit of lineage.
Nord the Barbarian. Remember Nord the Barbarian? And so they brought him in as a Viking. So yeah. That's why you
Oh, that's kind of cool then. That's not as... I thought WWE just put that gimmick on him as like an FU. We can't get you, Brody, so we'll get this guy. So that's cool that he was tag teamed with Brody then. I like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
this guy likes Berserker. We got somebody in the chat that likes Berserker. I'm telling you.
I like Berserker.
Us.
And then Colonel Mustafa comes out. I think that was one thing that I thought was stupid. It's the Iron Sheik. Everybody knows it's the Iron Sheik.
Yeah, they don't want to bring it up.
Why are we calling him the Colonel Mustafa?
And where was
renamed? He might have got renamed.
No, because he came back to WWE later as Iron Sheik. It was just at that time they just wanted Colonel Mustafa, no Iron Sheik. They didn't even reference it. They never said he was a world WWF champion. He's just Colonel Mustafa, part of that alliance or whatever. So he came in. I don't think he hit any good spots. The Model was next, so we said he's the Iron Man winner right now. He was the one going in. A lot of my friends like, and this was after he was off Strike Force. So
man, Force was... I loved Strike Force. I don't know why, but I loved Strike Force.
You like the workers. They're good workers.
Girls in cars.
Hey, what? They had songs?
Girls. That was their theme song was Girls in Cars.
Screw if I know.
Ask me on the go with a smile.
Oh, they were like heartthrobs? So Model's already kind of the Model.
You have to think twice.
See, I knew him more as the Model. Strike Force was a little before my time. But I know of them. So that means he was already a heartthrob. He just really...
Pile Driver.
Yes, that's what I was about to say. It's
Pile
probably
Driver, album too.
I was about to say it's probably not their theme song. It was probably one of those WWE CDs that they made. That wasn't part of that.
But it was their theme song, and it wasn't supposed to be for them. Because Jimmy Hart sings it. Jimmy Hart sings that song.
Yeah, Jimmy Hart did a lot. He was he was a lot. I like him with the microphone and getting all heated. You got to see a lot of Jimmy Hart. But who's after Rick DeMarco Martel? Who came into the Rumble next?
Who came in next? I gotta go back to that because I was looking up stuff on.
When it comes crashing down, it hurts inside.
Mega Powers over here. Hogan, who won 2 Rumbles before, and now mind you, part of this too. So Undertaker and Hogan come in so late, and it's explained earlier that they were given later numbers purposely because they were the former champions and the whole thing with them.
So kind of like a basketball draft, like the NBA draft a little bit, how it influences.
Right, and that's why you had them come in so late. They were both in the last from 20 on because they couldn't come in until after they were going to come in from 20 on.
But at this point, Flair had a lot of eliminations going to. So is this the first time that on screen that Hogan and Flair touched, minus Flair doing the steel chair?
I think so.
Because they did not. They wrestled a lot. They did, but they didn't have that stare down. It wasn't like, oh shit, it's Hogan and Flair in the Rumble. This is crazy. They kind of just started. And what's weird, which you don't see nowadays, a lot of eye rakes, eye pokes, because technically there's no DQ. So a lot of wrestlers, when they don't have a move, they just start grabbing at the eyes and choke people and just sit there, kind of like a WrestleFest or those old Sega Genesis games.
That all the time anyway.
What?
Listen, if you didn't watch wrestling, if you just didn't know anything about wrestling,
I know where you're going with this.
If you didn't ever watch wrestling, and you put on a Hulk Hogan match with the sound off, you would think that Hulk Hogan's the bad guy. If you couldn't see the crowd and you just saw just the match, you would think Hulk Hogan is the bad guy.
chokes people with his shirt, pushes the referee, he's like The Rock. The Rock was a bully when he was a good guy. John Cena was a bully. A lot of these big guys are kind of like the asshole jock a little bit. But hey, if you win championships and you win, we like you. But Hogan did. Somebody else took Hogan's shirt and started choking somebody else in this Rumble. Wasn't Hogan, at least this time.
Who did it this time? I missed that one.
Somebody grabbed. I don't know who was that. I think Rick Martel did, or somebody. Somebody was choking somebody. It was off on camera because a lot of these people have to be like, "Yo, come hit me." Like Rumbles are just really like they don't know what to do. You kind of get lost in there.
This is
Ric Flair had a lot of eliminations though in this Rumble. Hogan was always the bad guys guy. Who's Skinner? I always get Skinner and the Stalker confused. Because Stalker was the 96 guy with the camos, like, oh, stalking. Then Skinner. I always forget Skinner existed. I thought he was like DL Hopper or whatever.
No, Skinner was, I think at one point he was one of the versions of Doink.
Oh, interesting.
I believe so. After the fact. Skinner, WWF. Steve Kern. Yeah, he was one of the Doinks. He was also one of the fabulous ones.
Okay.
With Stan Lane. It was Stan Lane and Steve Kern. He was the guy that wasn't Stan Lane.
Stan Lane didn't really have too much big WWE moments, though. They didn't really ever sign him to a big contract.
I don't think so. He was more of a WCW NWA guy. Sweet Stan Lane. Stan Lane and beautiful Bobby Eaton. I love that tag team.
Good tag team. But you see, that's when I realized, like, all right, that's why they had to put Macho back in, because Macho's still involved in a lot of the big spots in this Rumble. That's why you knew, like, they were like, all right, Macho, you got to get back in there. I don't know who eliminated Jake and when he got eliminated.
Jake? It was sometime right then, because that's when he went over. He went over the top rope to go after Jake.
Yeah, it doesn't say anyone eliminated. So that's weird. Did he just leave and they're like, oh, well, he decided to leave and he's a bad guy? Because I don't think I see. I'm on Wikipedia and it doesn't say who eliminated
Jake.
Oh, here we go. We got some things. So Randy Savage immediately eliminated himself shortly by jumping over the top rope to chase Jake Roberts. Savage was brought back in, Undertaker, because Savage eliminated. Announcers Gorilla Monsoon and Heenan originally thought Ric Flair broke the longevity. Yeah, it doesn't say.
Undertaker eliminated him.
Oh, must have been a mistake then. That's interesting.
Undertaker eliminating him reinforced Taker's growing aura as an unstoppable presence while keeping Jake protected from a main event guy.
No. Savage eliminated Jake. Yeah. Did you chat GPT it, Sean Puffy?
I did.
Unbelievable. You can't trust them. They're their buddies. They wouldn't eliminate each other. It does. Yeah, it was Jake Roberts eliminated Savage, and then it says no. Jake was eliminated by Savage because it's right next to it. Savage came back in, then eventually got the elimination, or he eliminated him. No, because he was chasing him. Oh, hey guys, if you're watching, go back and watch, because that was one of the big feuds. Besides Flair having to overcome the odds, the fair to Flair. That was probably the biggest other storyline, is Macho Man being in this to try to get his upcomings on Jake and Taker.
This is true.
But, I would have to say, if I'm putting money on it, I'm thinking, it was Jake got eliminated by Randy, even though technically it shouldn't count since Randy eliminated himself there. But
right, Savage should have been eliminated, but they changed the rules. But
well, so Skinner, how did Skinner get the nice spot at number 27? And let's be honest, in retrospect, isn't 27 the most coveted spot in the Rumble? That spot has produced more Rumble winners than everything. We always have to hear that every year.
Is it 27 or 26?
It was 27 is bigger than 26. I don't know if it's different. They've been using the 30 spot a lot because WWE just does very lazy booking now.
Very true.
But then we're now to the last three. Now we got Slaughter, another former champ.
Yep.
Oh, Stalker was Barry Windham? Oh, yeah, that's after.
Stalker was Barry Windham. You didn't know that?
Yeah, 27 is the big spot. Yeah, I'm not, like I said, especially not, if it's not WWE, I only see what I read up on. A lot of late WCW, NWO. I don't know a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, I watched all that. I watched all the, at the NWO. I watched all the NWO stuff. I watched WCW Saturday night before. We're gonna one of the things we're gonna talk about. I want to bring up when we talk about things that are forgotten, and it might end up being our 4th episode. I don't know. We haven't got into it yet. We still haven't even decided what our next episode is. We'll figure that out before we get off the air today, maybe. But I want to talk about Booker T versus Chris Benoit and how that best of 7 match for the television title made them household names.
Oh, because you get to hammer it home to the audience. They get to keep seeing it. So it's now not just one match. Now you have a match the next week, so they talk about what happened last week, and now it's how do they set the next matchup better than itself. It's kind of like pay-per-views. It's kind of like a Rumble. How is this Rumble than the last one? Sergeant Slaughter coming in.
So Slaughter comes out. Sergeant Slaughter comes out, gets in. Then we get Big Sid Justice. Man,
and the blue pants. Fans loved him too. Was he a good guy, bad guy, or he's just Sid? I think he's always just Sid. He's not a good guy.
But this is when he turns heel because he's supposed to be Hogan's friend at this time.
Okay.
He's Sid Justice. He wasn't Psycho Sid yet. He was Sid Justice. He was a good guy. That's why Justice instead of Sid Vicious. Which I wasn't a fan of it, man. He needed to be Big Sid Vicious. Psycho Sid, man.
There was something on me. He's still a big man, tall, almost looked like Brock Lesnar kind of, just a freak. But the fans loved him. Fans were cheering for him. He goes in there, starts interacting with everybody. And he definitely looks like who else was there? Thought there was who was it, Hercules or somebody was there at some. Oh, the Warlord! I got excited. I got excited myself. The big man got me excited. I'm sorry because that guy was probably the biggest freaking meathead out of the bunch.
How did that guy not get a bigger push at some point?
I have that as one of my notes. Like what was he missing? He looked like giant Super Saiyan Stone Cold Steve Austin. He looked like Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he was just bigger. He was Goldberg.
If you took Stone Cold, Goldberg, and Hawk and mixed them together and fucking just created something out of their DNA, that's the Warlord.
Yeah, probably what he's missing is the promo. I don't even know how he sounds like. Does he have a catchphrase?
No.
Bow to the Warlord. I don't know.
Yeah, he wasn't a mic guy. But see, here's the thing. You didn't need that then because you had managers. Managers were a thing then. Warlord was with Slick at the time. Slick can be a mouthpiece.
Talk about your songs on that album you were talking about. He had some songs, man. He had some funny songs. But
so we got everyone in the ring now, right? Everyone's out now. Warlord's the last one in. Sid's in. It starts breaking down. We get down to the last few men in the ring, and our final 3. I don't know if you want to get before the final 3. If there's anyone you want to talk about.
I think was Piper part of the final 4. I forget who the 4th was, but the 3. I know who the 3 were. I don't know who I think Piper was one of the 4th. Because he was the Intercontinental Champ going into that too. Let's be honest, he won that earlier, so they wanted to give him the rub. But then that's why Macho Man had to get back in there because it was Macho, Hogan, Sid, Flair. So no, Piper was not part of the final 4. It was Sid, Flair, Hogan, and Macho were the final 4. Final answer, guaranteed.
Okay.
Yeah, and Macho got eliminated, which then became the 3. And then that's where the tomfoolery began. What was the tomfoolery all about?
Man, this is what I'm talking about. Hulk Hogan being a heel. And somehow he got cheered for this. I, to this day, do not understand how it was reacted to the way it was reacted to. Hulk Hogan comes out, and he's mad because because Sid throws him out, and he said it before. I don't know if you noticed that in the interview before, he talks about how his friends always screw him over.
Mm-hmm.
He said that going in.
Yep, he says someone's going to stab me in the back.
Hulk Hogan went into this looking for someone to blame. I'm just going to say that. And he blames Sid. And he grabs Sid by the arm and pulls him. And he's trying to pull Sid over because Sid eliminated him, which to me, 2 wrongs don't make a right, Hulk. What are we doing here? What are you teaching? You're supposed to be the role model, and you're like, this guy.
He's LeBron James. He's LeBron James arguing with the referees after a bad call. He's almost like a prima donna. He bugs out. He complains. He threw a temper tantrum. Yo, you got eliminated. Walk to the backstage area. No, he starts jaw-jacking with Sid, grabs him, and then Ric Flair, I mean, he didn't actually do the strut, but Flair took advantage of the situation and dumped him. And Ric Flair, over an hour in that Rumble, became the new undisputed WWF champion for the first time ever.
And my
what a moment.
Here's my immediate problem with it. Ric Flair just goes 60-plus minutes and wins the Royal Rumble to become the world champion, and the main focus now is Hulk Hogan and Sid.
Yep, they had the pull apart break. All the goons from the back had to come and separate them.
Everybody, they're saying names. I'm like, oh, that guy? Oh shit! I didn't know that guy was working in the back at the time. Oh, that's crazy. I know that.
That's road agents. Yeah, wrestling's always kind of had that. Those guys, all right, they're not working anymore. Let's get them a cushy job in the back. Who was it? One of the who's the twin referees?
The Hebners.
Yeah, the Hebners. Sid does like his weird taunt where he gets down on the knees and goes like this, and he like knocked Hebner over when Hebner took a spill. I don't know if it was on purpose, but man, Sid when he does that, when he drops on a knee and does the whole bring it, man, what a big man, and he looked pissed too. It looked scared. He did the pissed face too. Oh man, he was so good at being.
What do you mean? Like it's the Royal Rumble. It's every man for himself. He's supposed to just let Hogan win. What was Hogan expecting? So Hogan was expecting Sid to help him throw Flair out and then climb over the top rope and leave the match on him?
His logic is not based. It's not sound. He threw a temper tantrum. He's a sore loser.
He threw a temper
tantrum. I mean, they teased. You watched Hogan Warrior live. Did you think Hogan was not going to give him the title when that happened? Hogan kind of took the title and was like, whoa, Hulk Hogan has not lost officially ever. Is he going to like be a sore loser? But that was the whole one giant leap into immortality.
Yeah. Guy, I don't know how like that wasn't always seen as like Hogan being the bad guy. I mean, and I love Hogan. I'm a Hogan maniac. I got my yellow Mega Power shirt. I just don't understand how that made any sense.
Hey, if it's you're a Hogan guy, you're a Hogan guy, and all those people at that time were a Hogan guy. They liked Hogan. Hogan could do no wrong.
Hogan could do no wrong, no matter what he did.
No wrong. Now you do talk about the focus of the pull bar, so they eventually break him down. What happens after that?
I don't know what happened after that.
With a I have just shown you. Flair goes back with Heenan. Heenan's like, screw you, Gorilla. I'm going back. Him and Mr. Perfect go to the backstage area. Jack Tunney's there with the title, shakes his hand, and Flair cuts the this title right here signifies that I am the best in professional wrestling. This is the true world title. And he cut that. And that was so it was fair to Flair at the end of the day, Bobby.
Which is wild when you really think about that. Think about everything that just happened in that and the real story behind everything with Flair coming to WWF and the real world champion and that championship belt and everything that happened with it and how it had to get blocked from television. And then he wins the title at the Rumble and Ric Flair says, that's the real world championship.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that's kind of overlooked as a moment, a very important moment.
He was all in when he came to WWF time. He was all in at putting WWF over. He did not have an agenda to be like, oh, where I was mattered. That's the sign of a good champion. As somebody that's, once again, in this little make-believe thing that we do, that's a way to make those leagues like you. You put over the company. You put over the company. And
you got to think of this. He had issue with when he left WCW.
Oh, he was
not brought the world title with him. They owed him money, and he paid for the title, so he took it. It was like, well, screw you guys. You owe me money. I'm leaving. I'm going to WWF, and I'm bringing my title with me.
So what was the deal? So why is Heenan such a Flair mark? Was he their manager before Like Bobby's always loved Flair, and I never knew what the precipice
Bobby
of that.
brought Flair over, like in the story.
In the story, I know, but was there anything before that they should be buddies or anything? Or
I don't think so. I think it just fits when you look at how Bobby Heenan positioned himself
always hated Hogan.
And he was a star. Like Bobby Heenan always hung with all the stars. He was in with all like the top people and like movie stars and everything. So it only makes sense that Bobby Heenan would hang out with Ric Flair. If you think about how Bobby Heenan positioned his character, of who his character was, it just fits.
And Mr. Perfect found a way because he was hurt. Mr. Perfect got in over there too, so they had a little stable kind of going on.
Right, Perfect eventually taking over as the manager, like kind of the Bobby Heenan role, as Bobby Heenan settled more into the broadcast journalist role.
So Flair wins the championship belt at the Royal Rumble. There's no clear-cut feud for him leaving that Rumble. Nobody really screwed him over. So what do you think? Do you think this kind of, to me, and I don't know where in the show to say this, but before we get to it, what do you, was that the best return on investment with Randy Savage taking on Flair at that WrestleMania?
I mean, what else were you going to do? Like you said, there was nothing else built. Number 4 eliminated is Randy Savage. So Savage.
Hogan and Flair did not have a match yet.
But you already pivoted to Hogan and Sid Vicious by doing that whole stupid little thing. I think if you don't do that and have that happen, if I go back and I book this, right, the end of that match, and we're still gonna have Flair win. I have that happen, but Hogan doesn't like flip out and pull him out. Like Sid Justice kind of does like a I'm sorry thing, and he ends up getting eliminated because Flair does some kind of sketchy thing to win the match. And I think that if you're gonna get to Hogan Sid Justice, you don't do it at Mania. You get Hogan Flair at Mania, and then you do that at SummerSlam.
So that's what I was about to say, especially with seeing how Sid's career in WWF went at that time. Hogan Sid probably should have been a SummerSlam match. That should not have been the main event of that WrestleMania. That's one thing. Like you have and like it's hard to go back in time and erase the Macho Man Flair match because that ended up being a very crazy feud and an awesome match. So it's kind of like everybody wanted. It's like how everybody wanted Austin and Hogan at WrestleMania 18, but that means you would have to erase The Rock and Hogan. Nah, man, you don't touch that timeline. You leave the memories alone on that one.
But if that happened, I think you do that completely different. I think you keep Sid Justice in the mix of that. So now you got Hogan, Flair, Justice, and Justice ends up screwing Hogan over at Mania, and Hogan loses to Flair, and now you get Hogan Justice.
I feel like I'm sure it's happened at one point. I feel like Flair and Sid would have a really good match if they had to. Flair knew how to wrestle a lot of those big guys,
right?
Chopping the legs and everything. But this is what I was going to.
It would have been a smart play because they already had a connection.
Yeah, from WCW, right? They already interacted.
They were in the Horsemen together.
Oh, yes, Sid was a Horseman for a hot second, wasn't he?
Yeah, Sid was a Horseman. Sid was like their power guy. It was Barry Windham. Barry Windham and Arn Anderson were a tag team at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Sid Vicious was the monster and Ric Flair. So it would have you could have played off of that so great.
So should have
ended up putting together a Horseman because the Brainbusters came over shortly thereafter.
Yes.
Yeah, yes. Hogan, Flair, and the Brainbusters together. I mean, Flair, Anderson,
Tully and Arn were the. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. They were in and they worked together, and it's like, oh man, if Hogan was there at that same time, and then you could have found somebody else to be that fourth Horseman, and we never got the Horseman in WWE. We actually never got the Horseman.
If you had Sid, if Sid Justice turned on Hogan going into Mania of Hogan versus Flair and sided with Flair, and that's how we got Psycho Sid, and then we get Psycho Sid versus Hogan at SummerSlam. How much better of a build is that? Because now you got Flair and Psycho Sid, his monster that came over from WCW, and people know the connection, but they wouldn't have said the connection.
Well, I mean, it definitely ended up. I mean, we remember the end of that Mania match. Didn't Papa Shango interfere in that match? Papa Shango and Sid and Hogan.
I don't know.
And then Ultimate Warrior came back. And I think that's when Ultimate Warrior came back. So I'm pretty sure that was not the plan at Royal Rumble. All right, we're gonna have Sid and Hogan main event with Papa Shango coming in, and then Ultimate Warrior is gonna miss his cue and come really late and save the match.
Yeah, that was bad.
And so this is my question, because this is 7 years. Is my math off? 9 years? 9 years beforehand. We always talk about WWE dropping the ball with the alliance angle. This is Flair in WWE. I mean, granted, we got to see the highlight of Flair winning the championship title at that Rumble, but like going back, did WWE make the most of Ric Flair being in WWF at that time?
I don't think so. I think you could have done so much more with him, and he was there for just when you really look at it. This time he wasn't there for a long time.
It was before Survivor Series. He came in, so that was 91 before the Survivor Series. He was on some kind of was it Flair for the Gold? I don't know what they called the show, but I don't think they would have called it, because then they would have known he was coming. It was just one of these weird Saturday talk shows or something. Not even a talk show. I don't even know. It was like a studio show.
Was it Primetime Wrestling? Was it still Primetime Wrestling?
Ooh. Not to be confused. Not to be confused, because Heenan and Vince did have their own like a Conan O'Brien, Jerry Leno show at one point. A lot of people don't remember. Like Vince did make his own talk show. Vince did get the itch to be on camera a little bit more. But I think it was right around that time, before that Survivor Series, Flair came in with Bobby Heenan with that title, with the big gold belt, the WCW belt, had that feud with Taker, or interfered in that Taker. We get to the Rumble 92. And then by that time next year, not even, he's already out of the company. He was at one of the first Raws, one or two, like one of those first couple Raws, and he was out of the company. So it was a little over a year that Ric Flair was in WWF. But still very crazy that he was there, because that easily could have never happened. And we would have never known what like an 80s, early 90s Ric Flair in WWF was, but we did get to see it. So for that, I'm happy we got to see it, but I feel like it's along those lines of kind of dropping the ball like the Alliance angle.
It was on Primetime Wrestling. It was September 9th, 1991 on Primetime Wrestling.
Primetime Wrestling, yep.
Yep. That was their...
So September, October, November. So about 2 months before that November Survivor Series.
That was Monday nights before Monday Night Raw. They used to have Primetime Wrestling, which I believe came on at 10 p.m.
Well, that was, WWF had a show on Ted Turner's thing before, at one point, before those TV shows. Ted Turner and Vince were in cahoots. They worked together at one point on the USA. Oh, no, not on the USA Network, because then they went to USA around that point, because then they started to deal with USA.
Right.
But I don't know. So what'd you think going back and watching the whole 1992 Rumble?
It wasn't horrible. I think the undercard had much to be desired. It was cool things to see when you're going back watching it retro. But I feel like if you would have just put me there without having seen it before and it not being the nostalgia of it, a lot of that undercard would have just wasn't.
Piper and Mountie was good. It was short. I mean, LOD and the Natural Disasters I got into, but a weird finish. Like it's just there. All those matches were just there. It was just to get us ready. But that was because that was a star-studded Rumble, and the fact that it was for the championship. But right when the card started, man, with Vince doing the Rumble, I was into it, man. The Bobby and Gorilla, it was really. And then the Oriental Express came out, and I was like, oh.
Then the bell rang, and we had to watch the wrestling, and we were just like, oh, what the hell is this? But yeah, the undercard was not that good. But like you said, you had a star-studded Rumble because it was for the title. And let's say this, they did that right. We didn't have a lot of people that you're like, why is this guy, like Jerry Sags was in it, and I don't really know why he was in the Rumble.
Yeah, because there's just one of them. There was not a tag team.
I feel like there was someone else that probably was supposed to be in that spot, that something happened, they couldn't be in it. So they're like, Jerry Sags, you're going out in this spot. You're going to be number 4.
And like I said, that number 27, who was that? Skinner, I said at 27. That was a little oddball. Once we draw attention to that, all the later names had that resume that guaranteed them a better spot, which I would like to see. I would almost like to see a ranking system going into a Royal Rumble season. Like, all right, win some matches, but then again, Royal Rumble's about unpredictability. So
hold on. Let let me clarify what I said with that. It wasn't everybody in those spots.
Mm-hmm.
It was just Hogan and Taker. So because Hogan and Taker had the whole thing with the title, and the title was stripped from Hogan and that whole thing, Jack Tunney said, you guys are going to be in the Rumble, but you'll be number 20 and on. Somewhere between 20 and 30 is when you'll come in. You won't come in the first 19 men in the Rumble. And
Hogan still complained and feel like he was getting screwed. God.
Right. Because, Hogan, that's what happens. What are you gonna do?
Well, sure. Hey, I thank you for giving me.
He got screwed over by Hogan a lot. That's the Junkhead Dog.
You will worship the ground. That's why he was waiting. Oh, Junkyard, yeah. JYD, he had to crush everybody. That's what one of the people said. They said Sid got over organically, and Hogan had to kill. That's what one of the comments were saying. I mean, look at Jake the Snake. Jake the Snake was supposedly getting the better reactions in those late 80s, and they're like, all right, yeah, let's not have that because you're a bad guy. We're not supposed to be cheering for you and over Hogan.
Isn't that weird that, like, wrestling at that time, if you were getting cheered as a bad guy, they didn't want that, and they'd, like, do something to change it. The Attitude Era is completely different. They're like, yeah, cheer for the bad guys, cheer for DX. Yes, crotch chop
if you went out there and you were entertained, look at Val Venus. Val Venus was a decent wrestler, but it's just the fans gravitated towards it. So for that time frame, oh, cool, your segment got good views. The fans liked it. Let's give you a bigger spot next week. You didn't get punished for getting over.
Yeah, this time in wrestling was very much, if you're good, you're good, and if you're bad, you're bad, and fans have to cheer the good guy and boo the bad guy. And if something happens outside of that, we're going to do something to switch it up.
Except you, Hogan. You go out there and do whatever you want. We'll still love you. We don't care. You're good, Hogan.
So wild. It's so wild. We're going to review some old matches, and there's some matches where Hogan, you're like, holy crap. I'm gonna give myself a shameless plug and say, go back and go to geekshavegame.com. I guess it's not myself because I don't even really do much there anymore. But go back and look for Flashback Fridays, and you'll see me reviewing some Hogan matches where you're just like, wow, this is just all heel tactics. It's just Hogan. Hogan was.
I bought. So they used to sell Hulkamania VHS. I remember buying them. He had all these cage matches with King Kong Bundy and all this stuff, and it's just crazy. And he was just so dirty, choke people and whatnot, like put
his eyes, like Hogan did all the bad guy stuff.
He just did it a different way where the fans still cheered because the other people that did the eye poke. All right, they would boo him, but Piper did it too. Piper was kind of a dirty fighter, and they liked Piper too. But I felt like that fit his image.
He was a heel for a while too. It took him a while to come over and become a face because he was Hogan's arch nemesis for a while. So there's that.
Do we give a rating system to the? I mean, that's what a lot of the cool podcasters do. Do you have a rating system that you give the Rumble or the overall event itself? Or
I've always used whiskeys.
Okay.
Give whiskey or bourbons. I would give this. So are we gonna rate the Rumble or the whole show?
I get. You know what? Just do the Rumble. Hey, whatever you want to rate, it's your show.
Let's rate the whole show. So I think as a whole, it was just average. It was a very average show. Nothing that I'm like, oh my God, except for the end of it. I'm going to give it 3 whiskeys. And if I were to rate the Rumble itself, I'd give it 3.5.
How
Again,
many?
Amazing for me.
So whiskey can turn into a bourbon? What's the maximum amount of whiskeys?
Whiskey, bourbon, however you want to do it.
So
5?
Yeah.
5 stars. We just give whiskey.
There's really no hidden gems. Like I said, Sherry's address that night was in 1992. That was I can only imagine what a middle school Sean Puff was thinking at that time.
Sherry's dress is 5 whiskeys.
Oh, but the Rumble did not disappoint. Regardless, the Rumble itself, I think was pretty good for what it needed to do. Crown a champion. Nobody was like, "Oh wow, why did Flair win?" If the internet was there, I don't think anybody would be complaining. He got to do his interview at the end. So I think the Rumble itself, like obviously the undercard, like we said, there's no hidden gems. Honestly, if you fast forward through the beginning, you're not missing anything. There's there's really no, unless that's like you said, unless that's Roddy.
Yeah, maybe Piper won the Intercontinental title. Other than that,
unless that's Piper's first title win, there's really not anything significant that I think happened. I don't know if that was Piper's first win. I would have to go back and actually do a little study. I want to say he had it at one point because he had some crazy matches at SummerSlams and Manias with Brett, and I think they reran a bracket or something.
I'm gonna look real quick. I'll look real quick. Let's see. Was this?
But while you're doing that, if you can multitask, what do we got on tap for the next show? What are some of the?
So we haven't talked about that. So the next topic is supposed to be a wrestling fact that we've always been told that we want to talk about.
All right. I thought there was 3 Ultimate Warriors growing up. I was always told that Ultimate Warrior died and that he got replaced with other Ultimate Warriors. His tassels were tied too tight. But that was a young Jimmy here in that story.
I do remember hearing like stupid stories like that, but yeah, I don't think there's any proof to that. But I mean something more like Goldberg was unstoppable. The Attitude Era was the best era. What's this? I missed that.
So he was. I'll bring it back. So that was Rumble's. That was Piper's first and only title win. So that was actually a historic moment. And he did. He ran around pretty pumped for that. So it's like what looks back. So what we know with rose-colored glasses. I mean, first off, history is written by the winners. So WWE, if you're getting your stuff, that Ultimate Warrior had a rambling, boring promo. Nah, man. When he came out there, it was like, Hogan, you take the airplane pilots that already made the ultimate sacrifice. Like, just something like that. A lot of people think Warrior was... Nah, man. Fans loved Warrior. You had all the kids with their face paint and stuff. There's a lot of things that
I love the Warrior.
That history, that's funny because there's other hot button issues that I know that the IWC likes to talk about it happening one way, but actually going back and watching it or living it is different. Like you said, the Attitude Era, there was not any good matches on Raw. Very rarely. Those matches were 3-minute matches. Somebody comes in, interferes, chair shot. All right, now this guy's feuding with somebody else. It was a lot of crash TV, which was the buzzword.
So let's tackle that myth next week. Next week, the Attitude Era was wrestling's peak. We're gonna bust that myth next week.
Ooh, we'll have to. All right, I gotta take some notes on that one because you can't just go back and watch one event. That incorporates a lot. I hope that's the word. Incorporates. It encompasses a lot of material.
You think that's too big for us to jump into for the first one?
Nah, it's his Attitude Era. If we got 2 hours, we'll figure it out.
I get another one we could do. More creative freedom equals better wrestling.
No, you do not want the rest because you have a storyline. I mean, once again, not to reference that thing we do on the side. People get too frisky and they jump the gun. They come out and promo. Oh, I talked to you in the DMs that we were going to do this feud. Yeah, well, you don't want to go on the page and start talking about it. We're supposed to. It's creative freedom. Just look at the spots. A lot of wrestlers have creative freedom with spots and whatnot. But
let's tackle that one. Let's do this. We're gonna do the Attitude Era was wrestling's peak, but I want to build to that so that we can have our time.
I think Attitude. Yeah, that's a big topic. I think you can put a little something else before that.
Next week we're gonna discuss more creative freedom equals better wrestling. A lot of people say that. Oh, creative freedom. When think about the complaints of WWE and how they book, and if you let guys have creative freedom, it would be better. That's what we're gonna get on.
That's a broad spectrum of ideas, though. That's creative control. People taking liberties. Look at Hall and Nash; they had a lot of creative freedom and whatnot. So I think we could make a subject out of that. Hey, anybody listening down below, if there's a way to comment wherever we can see it after it being live, where you guys listen to this after the fact, find a way to contact us or put it in the comments if there's something you'd like to see us tackle. I think we are two passionate people about this wrestling, so I think you get a pretty unfiltered take on a lot of these wrestling events. So if you guys want to see us talk about something,
I think for next week's episode we even up the ante a little bit, and I'll bring on a guest or two for this discussion, and we're going to discuss: do we think that more creative freedom equals better wrestling, or are we going to we're going to attempt to bust that myth and prove that it's not true? And we'll have a good discussion about it.
So with that being said,
go ahead.
With that being said, you should probably give me less creative freedom on that show, so I let you guys talk about it a little bit. And I sit back a little bit and just be like, all right, I got to put my listening ears on instead of having the talking pillow.
Well, it'll be interesting. I want to bring in somebody with a younger mindset, right? Ooh. I want to bring in a younger guy that has that different view of wrestling, right? Because I come from watching in the 80s. You come from watching in the 90s. I want to grab someone that was watching wrestling in 2000 or 2010s, just got into wrestling then, and I want to hear their opinion on it too, and then maybe one other person or maybe.
So when I was advertising, hey, we're doing the 1992 Royal Rumble, somebody's like, oh yeah, that's the one that Stone Cold won, right? Yeah, I don't know about that, bud. And they watch wrestling now. I mean, that guy's not even 21 that said that. I won't out him here. You know him very well.
I know what you're talking about. But anyway, I'm gonna bring somebody in to chop that up with us. Maybe we'll have two other people. We're gonna have basically a roundtable discussion on does more creative control equal better wrestling? More creative freedom rather equal better wrestling. That's our topic for next week, and the following week we're gonna do something from history that we remember. I love that shirt. Ooh, yeah, dig it.
I mean, your shirt's a little bit cooler. I definitely got mine at Walmart. You probably bought yours at like actual wrestling show. So
I ordered it online. WWE had like one of those deals like, hey, if you order now, you get this much off. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna order right now then. And I got this and a couple other shirts.
Oh, we see that. You got a lot of memorabilia back there, but we only got time for so much. So any final thoughts? I mean, hey, it's your show. My bad. You see, this is what happens. You gave me too much creative freedom. I have way too much creative freedom here.
Better wrestling or better Jimmy? More creative freedom doesn't equal better Jimmy.
Wait, are you saying that there's a level I could actually be more Jimmy than where the Jimmy I'm at right now?
No,
I think we need little Jimmy. I think little Jimmy needs to come to the next show. Just a little Jimmy. Just a little Jimmy. We don't want to get sued. A little Jimmy.
A little
Jimmy.
Right. So, do you have a final thought for anyone before we get out of here?
Hey, with Netflix being having WWE, and I feel like they allow a little bit more stuff than the network. I don't know what that's about. I feel like when I went back and watched it on the network, I feel like some stuff was edited. Like them saying WWF, they said it. The subtitles were weird, but yeah, guys, get Netflix and watch some old school wrestling news.
And listen, thank you for listening. Make sure you're tuning in. Follow, like, share. Get us out there. We're trying to build the crowd. I took a hiatus from doing this show for a while, so we're trying to get this thing back up and going. We will be here every week doing a new topic for you. And as long as you want to interact with us, we'll appreciate you interacting with us and being a part of the show and answering questions. We didn't have a lot of questions this time. We did have a little bit of input, but thank you, everybody. Check us out next week for does more creative freedom equal better wrestling? We're going to break that down. It's going to be fun. Like and until then, for Jimmy G, I'm your boy Sean Puff, and this has been Smarks, Spot Monkeys, and Super Kicks. Oh, by the way, shout out for our theme song, Smarks.
Hey, put a link in the link there. When you drop this link there, Sean Puff, put a link to the link down below so people can check it out.
I will. I'll put it in the description.
The biography, the description.
I'm gonna put a link to our theme song. Go give it some love.
So hey, guys, like the old adage says, like, subscribe, follow, and always check us out and comment down below.